Join me today as we tackle one of my favourite 172 Airfix kits, the Willys MB Jeep. This video will showcase 3 different Jeeps, all being painted to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Market Garden, specifically focusing on the 1st Airborne Reconnaissance Squadron, as well as a 101st Airlanding Field Ambulance Jeep. Be sure to let me know below how you found this video and if you want to see more fantastic British Airborne figures on the channel. What better way to commemorate the 80th anniversary of Market Garden than to paint a 172 Willys Jeep focused around the British Airborne. So the British Airborne Jeep that we're going to be painting today is part of an Airfix kit. It's a fantastic little kit actually. It comes with a variety of different options to make American and British Jeeps. It comes with a really nice decal sheet, but we're going to be using different decals. But the sheet is really nice if you don't want to source external ones. Also comes with a few clear sprues for some windscreens, etc. But you're not really going to be too interested in those, especially for the British Airborne at Arnhem. And then we got a better look at the actual decal sheet there. So you've got both British and American decals, obviously the British being focused on the British Airborne, and the US, I'm just assuming it's a sort of generic US sort of Jeep. The British Airborne decals are more focused around the 6th Airborne, I believe, hence why I decided to get decals from somewhere else. But as you can see, they come up really nicely. You also get a gun in that as well, which is really cool, as well as a trailer, but unfortunately the trailer isn't applicable for the Airborne version that we're going to be needing. So the sprue is really nice. There's very little cleanup involved. You only really need to use a file and a bit of sandpaper. But if we're talking about the British Airborne and the Jeep specifically at Arnhem, you can see there's a few things we need to do. So we're cutting down the front bumper steps and grab handles as part of this, and there's a whole other host of things that we can do. So pause your screen if you want to know what I'm actually going to be doing, but that's what you really want to focus on. I didn't achieve all of that, but yeah. Also, that is part of the Arnhem Gym blog. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link to his page in the description, as well as that photo that you just saw was some formation badges that I actually own, and he featured on his blog, so that was really, really cool. So you can see that I'm just starting to take away a few of the excess bits. So this part is, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's on the rear of the Jeep, so I'm getting rid of that. That's not on there. There's a little bit of flash that needs to be cleaned up here, but it's really, really minuscule, so you just need a little bit of a file and a steady hand, and you'll be able to clean that off in no time at all. I've sped it up a little bit, but it really didn't take much time at all. Putting it together, I used Tamiya cement. I just like this cement. It allows you to make a few little errors without too much issue. Just be careful. The heat from the glue, if you get it too close to your finger, it will conform to the plastic. Even though you haven't put it on your actual finger, just if your finger's a bit too close, then it will actually melt to the plastic. So just be warned if you're going to be using the Tamiya cement. And then we're going to go ahead and really jazz up our Jeeps. So these bits of storage are from a chap called Dan Dunbar. You can find him on Facebook. I'll leave a link to him in the description if you want to get in contact with him and get some of the stuff that I used. As well as the figures that are going to be in these Jeeps are from AB Figures. Now we're going to be painting up 2 1st Airborne Reconnaissance Squadron Jeeps, as well as 181st Airlanding Field Ambulance Jeep. So you're going to be seeing them coming in and out depending on what I'm focusing on. But other than that, we're going to get straight into it. So to start off with, I spray paint them black, and then I go with Russian Uniform World War II and olive grey at a 1:1 ratio. So I'm moving away from Tamiya for this one. I still prefer Tamiya paints, but this is Vallejo for airbrushing. So just make sure you thinned it down nicely, because Vallejo can be a bit of a pain unless you're using their specific airbrushing paints, which these were not. So the 1:1 ratio gives you that sort of British green that you want to be trying to achieve. And then we use that same base coat, but we add in a bit of Iraqi sand at a 2:1 ratio. And now I start doing some panel highlighting. So I'm just picking out the flat surfaces, and in the middle of those flat surfaces I'm trying to put in some of this lighter colour to make those panels stand out just a little bit more. You don't want it all just looking the same green, because it won't give the vehicle any depth. So yeah, just go ahead, just see what I'm doing. Hopefully you can make it out in this particular shot. And then exactly the same, but at a 1-to-1 ratio. I will be doing a more in-depth airbrushing video in the not too distant future, where I explain ratios, or how to set up your PSI, how to clean your airbrush, because airbrush cleaning can be a pain, but if you've got the right tools, it really is really straightforward. And then you should want to be getting something like that, and then once you have, we want to go ahead and put our decals on. So I use microset for this, so make sure you've given your vehicle a gloss coat or a semi-gloss coat. I use a spray can instead of my airbrush, just so I don't have to keep cleaning my airbrush. And you just put this microset down where you are planning to put some of those decals. Don't pull it on, just do a little bit, and that's just going to help that decal adhere to that surface. The gloss is also going to help flatten the surface, which is going to make that decal conform a lot easier. Use a little bit of water or that microset on a brush and just keep adjusting your decals. So these are black line decals that I've used. These are specific for the 1st Airborne at Arnhem. They are not the greatest decals, but they are fantastic in terms of accuracy. They are perfect. Just the resolution of the actual decals wasn't great. The vehicle numbers were fantastic, more so the formation badges that I had a bit of a problem with. The Allied Star was also very good. Once you've done that, you want to get a cotton bud and just get rid of the excess liquid underneath there. And once that's done, you can go ahead and give it another gloss varnish. That's going to get rid of that film that you're going to see, and it's going to make it stick to the surface perfectly. And then to give this a wash, I'm using the Tamiya panel liner. And this is dark brown. Thought I'd give this a go, some a little bit different opposed to the other MIG enamel washes I've used in the past, as well as oil washes. Be very warned when you're using this if you're unfamiliar with it. It's a very good set because it comes with the brush already attached, and it's very good for pin washing. It dries incredibly quickly, well mine did anyway, so you want to make sure you're cleaning that up almost as soon as you've finished giving your vehicle a pin wash, as well as if you hit a surface on the edge of the brush, a lot of that paint actually gets housed inside of that nozzle that you can see, or that you could see in the previous shot, so it does pull out very quickly and you can lose a bit of control with it. So once you've put that pin wash down and you've given it like a couple of minutes, come along with a cotton bud and some enamel odorless thinners and just try and clean it up and leave that wash in the recesses. So we're going to just make sure those panels stay dark. And you can see I'm using a cotton bud. You can use a paintbrush as well. It really is up to you how you want to get it out. Just make sure you're not removing it all, which I tend to do sometimes as well. Just take your time. Practice makes perfect. I'm still no whiz at it, but you get the idea. So once we've done that and we've given it time to dry, which is the essential thing, definitely give it quite a few hours to dry. We want to go ahead and give the tyres a black grey base coat. You can use Tamiya rubber black as well, straight from the part, but I'm trying to just keep it all very straightforward with Vallejo paints because they are the most accessible and probably the easiest to work with. Tamiya acrylic paints can be a little bit of a pain if you're using a paintbrush. So you can see the model looks absolutely fantastic. You will notice that a lot of them are all different modifications. You can see I'm painting the Vickers as well, so metal objects will be painted in this colour. I just was rushing it slightly, so some of them have got like the entrenchings are on the side when they should be on the front. But yeah, that's just a mistake that I'll fix up in my future builds. And also one of these featured in my AK paint stripping video, so you can see that you can bring those plastics back to life with that AK paint stripper. Then for the seats, I'm using khaki as well as using that same colour for the straps. And if you want to know how I made my own straps, it's very straightforward. I used some masking tape, but these straps that you see on this particular model already came sculpted onto the vehicle. Then for the lights, I use burnt red. Arnhem Jim's blog, which we've already spoke about before, is a fantastic resource, and this is where I get a lot of my inspiration for storage, as well as how to paint the Jeeps. He's got tons of information and reference photos on there as well. And then flat earth for the wood. You can see that I made a mistake here and kept the entrenching tools on the side of the vehicle when they should be on the front for the Recce Squadron or the British Airborne Jeeps. I've made a few mistakes on these, one because some of them one of the vehicles was from the paint stripping, so I just left it as is, which was very old. and a couple others I just missed as I was assembling it. But you know what, that's okay, you live and you learn, and the next ones will be a lot more accurate. Then for the bridging disc, I used dark yellow as the base colour. The bridging disc is actually really funny. My wife got me a happy birthday banner, and on that banner there was some cut out cardboard discs, and they were the perfect size in my opinion for these, so I scrambled them up, so I've got myself some nice bridging discs. So just a little bit of cardboard that's been punched out. Then for the storage, I'm going to go ahead and hit it with no oil and technical medium. So pretty much everything that we've just painted bar the tyres, I'm going to go ahead and hit that with no oil and technical medium. At a 1:1 ratio, that ratio is really essential. You don't want to go full no oil, which is a black wash, because it's just going to make everything way too dark. If you can thin it down, it's going to take the sharpness away from that black wash and really help you. Once that's done, we want to go over some of the storage that we painted. So for some of the like sleeping bags, etc., I've painted in Russian uniform World War II, so I'm just going back over them. And you can see these fantastic 3D printed storage from Dan. It's got loads and loads of detail on there. They are an absolute joy to paint, so yeah, really chuffed with those. Don't forget to hit up Dan if you want to get yourself some of this. His prices are really reasonable too, and he will definitely help you out with what you're planning on and trying to achieve. Then we want to go Russian uniform and German camo beige at a 1:1 ratio, just for the final highlight. So you can see I'm picking out the raised edges there. I apologise if I sound like a robot. I'm just coming into a cold. I'm not feeling too flash hot today, but I really wanted to get this video out, especially because we're midway through the anniversary, the 80th anniversary of Market Garden. So I wanted to really get this video out because this is something I've been really wanting to push for this anniversary. Then something like the ammo crates, I use US dark green, and then to highlight that I use US dark green and German camo beige at a 1:1 ratio. So there's some ammo crates in there. You can paint the jerry cans that are between the seats, so you've got one between the seats and then two behind the seats as per the configuration of the Jeeps for being towed in the gliders. And then old wood for the basket. This basket was printed at a bit of a lower or smaller scale than we would have liked, and that was a mistake on my part, given the wrong measurements. So I just thought, you know what, I'm going to make use of it and just chuck it in the back. It's actually meant to be on the very rear of the vehicle opposed to actually embedded in with the storage, but it worked out well. It looks really cool in there. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that's come out. Then I give it a dry brush of old wood and Iraqi sand at a 1:1 ratio. And then if that dry brush isn't really getting the areas like that are difficult to get to, just get a fine brush and you can really just go along the sides and highlight that. This basket's got actually a lot of detail, handles on all the sides, and that's really, really well done. And then the seats and obviously the straps, we're just going back over them with khaki. Now it's really essential, this part, if you're going to be leaving a seat free, that you make the seat look worn. If you think about it, if these Jeeps have been used quite a bit, the seats are going to be worn. And I'm not talking about during the battle, during training, exercises, etc, etc. These seats would have been worn. So you got to think the spine of the back is probably going to wear the most, so the middle of the seat, as well as the butt cheeks on the seat. So you want to be giving like an imprint of a butt on the bottom of the seat, as well as just a sort of like a middle part of the top of the seat, just to simulate that spine resting on there. So you can see that's the sort of thing you want to go for. It's a bit messy, I will tidy that up, but that's what I'm really trying to achieve. Once you've done that, and you can see I've tied it up slightly, we can go ahead and give it khaki and stone grey at a 2:1 ratio. The reason I don't go 1:1 is that stone grey is very, very light, so if you go too much on that stone grey, it will look a bit unrealistic. And you can also go a bit further, so if you want to go with a 2:1 then a 1:1 ratio, by all means do it. Just keep building up to that very last colour. So you can see I'm just painting the outer edges here. I'm scratching in the details to make sure that these areas that I'm really trying to focus on pop, and it also helps with not making mistakes. You can see that the scratching method on the actual straps really works nicely, because you're not putting a big blob of paint down and then losing some of that detail. And those details are really crucial to make these vehicles pop. Now my wood is very simple, it's always the same, it's flat earth. So we're going back over with that base colour, and it's literally just painting on lines. I'm not trying to paint actual specific areas, I'm just painting on lines to simulate wood grains. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and hit it with flat earth and orange brown. See, I'm just doing those wood grains, just slowly painting them on. Very little paint on the tip of my brush. These brushes are excellent, by the way. I've got a video on these if you're interested in what I'm using. I'll leave a discrete link to the description. And then an orange brown to finalize the wood. But be very careful. You don't want to use a really big amount of this. Is a very bright color, can look unrealistic if you put too much on. So just very lightly scratching little bits, and you'll see those sort of new wood grainy effects really start to pop. Now for the metal parts, you can see I'm focusing on the Vickers. We use black grey, so we're going over the metal in this color and highlighting those. Highlighting the little gear stick there, or the knob. And then to highlight that, we're using black grey and basalt grey at a 1:1 ratio. Again, you can keep building up that brighter grey colour. I would avoid painting them silver, it just looks unrealistic, which is something I used to do a lot of back in the day. I've just gone off that now. You can see I'm also paying some attention to the shovel and any of the entrenching tools, and also the blacked out headlamp there, so that you don't need to worry about keeping that masked off and clear. You can just give that a nice bit of black grey. And then using that same paint, we can go ahead and dry brush the very outer edges of the tyres, just to make those treads pop. Airfix have gone to all the work of putting some detail on those wheels, so you might as well finish them off. Just a quick interruption, guys, to remind you to give your model a flat clear spray once you've finished. I forgot to mention that at the end. But anyway, back to the video. Then to finish with the bridging disc, I used dark yellow and flat yellow at a 1:1 ratio. Opposed to just flat yellow is a bit too bright. It wasn't as bright as that in real life. And then that is it, guys. So here are the 3 vehicles. These were an absolute joy to paint. It's an honour really to paint vehicles that represent a specific part of World War II that really does interest me greatly. And I've got more plans. I've got a signals Jeep that I want to paint up, as well as just a sort of like an Airlanding Jeep with a load of crew on there, maybe a trailer with crew as well. So let me know below how you found this video. Do you think these came out well? Do you like the fact that I didn't use Tamiya paints for once? I've actually just gone ahead and used Vallejo. And do you want to see that in-depth airbrushing video? Huge thank you goes out to Dan for being very patient with my requests, as well as Nick at Eureka Miniatures for sending me the AB figures to use as crew for the Jeeps that you see on screen now, as well as my Patreons and YouTube channel members. You guys are absolutely awesome. If you want to join their ranks, please do so. You can join for as little as $1 a week. All the proceeds go back into the channel and purchasing new and interesting items, as well as keeping some of the operations running in the background. But other than that, guys, I'm going to leave it here. I really appreciate each and every one of you for watching, and I will catch you at the next one.